There we go. We're off to the races now. I really do appreciate you coming on though, Phil. I know that you're a busy man, and I'm glad to have you on.
Of course. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I have all these posters in front of me behind the computer here, and one that's been up here for quite a long time is the Desert Daze. I'm not sure what year it is, but it's the Iggy Pop headline. 2017. And I've been looking at this forever, and one name really jumped out at me, and it's JJUUJJUU. And am I saying that correctly?
Just Juju.
Okay. So I mean, I fucked up. It's on me. We're gonna have to restart this. Are you ready to go again?
I forgive you.
Okay.
Oh, you want to restart? That's fine. Yeah.
No, I'm a fuck up. Everybody knows it. It's fine. That's par for the core of this.
You know,
I don't even think I said
why
that right.
we love you. It's part of why we love you.
Phil, I know that you listen to it every week. I know you're the
long time
one.
Listener, first time caller.
Yeah, you're on air, so go ahead. No, but really though, I do appreciate you coming on. But yeah, that name has always jumped out at me, and then I did some research, and I was like, this is an awesome band, you know.
Well, thank you.
I really do like it, and I want to know more about you. But where are you originally from?
I was born in Pomona, which anybody from Southern California probably knows for the Glass House and the Fox Theater down there.
Oh yeah,
where I grew up in those buildings going to shows.
Very nice. It's a good area around there. I like the feel of it, and of course there's that wonderful record store right next to the Glass House.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, was that there when you were attending gigs there?
I want to say when I was really, really young, it wasn't, but it might have been. It's hard to remember. And then at some point in my later teens, it definitely was there. And it was is it still the Glass House record store?
I believe so.
To this day? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it was when I was. So I was born in Pomona and grew up in the suburb next to it called Phillips Ranch. And then we moved to Chino Hills. And then that's
more my area. That's me. That's around me.
Really?
Yes. I'm in your Belinda, so I mean I'm real east. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. Cool. So and then at some point in my mid-20s, I moved back to Pomona, and I was living in the artist work live loft area, and that's when we started Moon Block Party, which led to Desert Daze, blah blah blah. But yeah, the Glass House record store was definitely there during that time, and then there was another little record store around the corner called PB&J, I think it was. Do you remember PB&J?
No, but I mean, I think it's a great name for a record.
It was short-lived. But yeah, it was just it was a fun time to be down there. You know, you could just walk out your front door, walk down 2nd Street, and whether there was someone activating something in their gallery, some art show or some installation, or somebody just opened a record store or a vintage shop or a synthesizer shop, and you just everyone's just trying to make it. And Pomona was kind of a ghost town during the day, so it was we would just we would all shop at each other's places. We would patronize each other's stores, and sometimes it felt like we were the only ones shopping at each other's stores. It was a fun time, and there's a lot of people who are doing really amazing things now who are just kind of starting at that time. I think of those times fondly.
Do you remember the first kind of inkling of interest within music?
Definitely. I had some older friends. I was in 6th grade, and my mom's best friend's son was in 9th grade, and he was my intro to pretty much everything. He got me drunk the first time we got drunk. And he took me to my first punk rock show at the Barn in Riverside, at UC Riverside. And it was my first show, and they hoisted me up and crowd surfed me. And then they passed me to a few people, and then someone just dropped me on the concrete floor, and I just smack, and I was yeah, that was the moment. I don't know whether I got slightly injured or what happened, but I was yeah, dude, I don't know whether I'm gonna play it wasn't specific I want to play in a band or I want to put on shows. It was just, I want to I want to be around this, So that was the moment for sure.
That's awesome. Do you remember who was playing?
Yeah, so it was this like Riverside punk band called Falling Sickness, and they were kind of like ska core, like it would go from ska to like screaming and punk, like like back and forth. It was like that sort of thing.
That's great. So after that, was it shortly after that you tried to pursue music on your own? You're like, oh yeah, I should start trying to make this.
So 7th grade started, junior high, and I met these two dudes who had a band, and I, we became friends, and I was like, oh, do you guys need a singer for your band? I want to be a singer in a band. And up until this point, I had like jammed in my bedroom with like a friend from elementary school who had like, he had like a Radio Shack mic and a Radio Shack like guitar amp. And we used to plug his guitar and one mic into the same amp. And like, we would jam. Like we loved Minor Threat and like Operation Ivy. And we would just like try to like do their songs in our room. So that was like my experience up until that point. And then I went to my friends JJ and Anthony, who I'm still really good buddies with today. And I was like, hey, can I be the singer in your band? And they're like, nah, like I sing, but we need a bass player. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And I didn't have a bass. I didn't know how to play bass. And one of their friends had an older brother who was selling a bass. So I bought the bass and I took it home and I'm like playing it. And I'm like, dude, this sounds weird, And I like call the guy. I'm like, does this sound right to you? And he's like, you got to tune it. Do you know what tuning is? And I was like, no, what's tuning? He's like, you see those silver things at the top that the strings are attached to? You got to, here, turn those. And it's like, boom. And I'm like, oh, he's like, so do you have a tuner? And I was like, no. So I had to like buy a tuner and I tuned it, learned what, notes should be. And I tuned it. And I took lessons at like a little music shop in Chino. And it wasn't so much lessons as like this dude, I don't know, you ever seen that movie, I think it's Airheads with Steve Buscemi and where they're like rockers, Adam Sandler and stuff. This guy was like out of that movie, you know what I mean? Like, and it was less lessons and more like, yeah, bring in tabs, like songs you want to learn, like, so I like brought in Rancid tabs, and of course Matt Freeman's like the best bass player, and I was like, yeah, can you teach me this? He's like, yeah, try. And I'd be like, brum, 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 really bad. And so yeah, and the bass was a black Yamaha bass, and it had white tape on it to look like checkerboard. It was very ska. Yeah. So I took off the white tape, and yeah, we started practicing. The band was called Nothing to Prove.
Ooh, gotta throw a number in there.
Yeah.
Very important numbers in bands. Yeah. And that was my beginnings. We used to play at the Showcase Theater in Corona. Do you know about Showcase Theater? I've heard of it. I don't think that it's around anymore, but yet that
it's not around anymore.
Rings a bell. Yes, of like other people talking about it before. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like Chain Reaction in Anaheim.
Sure.
Yeah, and even this like place called McLean's Coffee in Fullerton.
Dude,
do you know McLean's?
But yeah, dude, I spent so many nights there, and yeah, dude, that place is awesome.
Yeah, she's so sweet, and it was like the first time we played a real show, like outside of a house party. we must have been so awful. I mean, we must have been so bad, and she was so sweet, and she was so, I mean, to our credit, we would like pack the place, with all of our all age buddies, like coming down drinking like tea and coffee, like,
you gotta buy something.
Getting all
gotta buy
something
something
on coffee, dude. Yeah,
good
man. Good times.
So what year was that around?
It was the late 90s. So it was like 97 it had to have been, like 96, 97, 98. Yeah, around that time.
Very nice, man. That's yeah.
I just aged myself for all your many millions of viewers. I've aged myself.
Yeah, and for Cam, because she also listens. So
that's right. She's
I love Kim. But so what music were you drawn? You said like Rancid and Minor Threat. Was it kind of those interests when you first started playing music?
Yeah, so like, when I was really young, my dad brought home a CD player, and he was like, "Oh, I got some compact discs," and and he got like he actually did pretty good. He got Queen Greatest Hits, Michael Jackson, Nirvana Nevermind, Pearl Jam 10. So that was like the first moments of like playing music in the house. And then so when I sort of went from elementary school to middle school, I took all the CDs that my parents had bought me during Christmases and stuff, which over the years was like 311, Green Day, Alanis Morissette, all that, everything in the Target Best New Music section, I'm sure.
Right.
And I would go to Warehouse Music and I would sell them to Warehouse Music, and then I'd go through like the punk and ska section, and I started with like Operation Ivy and Rancid and some other ones I won't admit, and then and then that sort of shifted to like hardcore. There was like a hardcore phase, where we're listening to like Converge and Death by Stereo and Adamantium and Poison the Well and that whole world. And then in my like teens, I had like like most people do, I had my Beatles immersion and my Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin immersion, which sort of went full circle because my mom, like many moms, I'm sure, in Southern California, was a K-Earth 101 fanatic,
Oh yeah.
So, in the car, driving to Raging Waters or to school or soccer practice, like, splish, splash, I was taking a bath, that was like my jam when I was like 4, you know what I mean?
It's still a jam now, let's be honest here. It's still a great song. Yeah.
It slaps. And I moved out of my house really young. I was 17 when I moved out of my house. And I just remember like parties at my apartment, like, listening to Pink Floyd or, whatever. And like just getting deep, at 18, getting deep with some Uma Guma, Pink Floyd, but yeah, that's the trajectory over the teens into late teens.
Yeah,
I think different groups have influenced me at different times for different reasons. Some of them very specifically to the music I make, others in like a sense of an ethos, and some have influenced me or impacted me, but like hasn't made sort of an impact on the way I make music so much. But some moments that stand out to me over the course of my teen years was like when Refused came out, when that Shape of Punk to Come record came out. It was so misunderstood by like the punk and hardcore scene, but I got it. Like right, I was like, holy shit. And I wanted to do that for so long. And Fugazi too. Like,
oh sure.
Fugazi was like I was in a hardcore emo band and I just wish we were like Fugazi the entire time, I kept saying to them, I was like, can we make stuff like this, and it'd be like, it'd be more like what it was. Yeah, and like, it's not like I make music that sounds like Refused at all, it's just something about that record was so like groundbreaking to me in my little ears, I was like, what is this, So.
Sure. Now, when did JJUUJJUU come into effect?
Yeah, it was 2012, I want to say, 2011, probably 2011, something like that. Yeah. I was playing in a band in LA, and a friend of ours sat in and was playing drums. We didn't have a drummer at the time. Like we went through a few different drummers over the course of my tenure in the band, and it was a time where we didn't have a set drummer. And so this guy, Andrew, who now plays in Drab Majesty, he came and jammed with us. And before or after practice or something, I like played him some like loops I had made. And he was like, oh my God, this is sick. And so he and I started jamming. And that was sort of the beginning of JJUUJJUU. Yeah. And it really, like, it's so funny because from the get-go of JJUUJJUU, we never had that like hustle of like, we're in a band, we're gonna play shows, we're gonna get signed, and we're gonna do this, and we're got a mission. It's just like, you're in a band, I'm in a band, we do this when we can, and it's fun, And then a friend of ours wanted to put out the EP, and we were like, oh shit, okay, sure. Are you sure? And they pressed it and sold out of it. And we were like, oh, fuck, all right. And then we did some touring, and Andrew eventually got really busy because it wasn't like a promise, but it was sort of understood to each other. It was like, yeah, we just do this when we can, you know? It's like, that's the nature of this project. And he couldn't anymore. And so I started playing with some other folks, and it kept going. And then we made a full length, and to my surprise, yet again, somebody wanted to put it out. And so we did. And then we got to tour with Primus and Mastodon and Kikagaku Moyo, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is a going concern now. All right, let's maybe think about this a little differently. And so, it's been almost 10 years of JJUUJJUU, which is wild. I can't even believe that.
Do you feel that the idea of like this is just kind of taking such a stern approach to it in the beginning of it's like we do it when we can and it's like nice and freeing, did that help kind of solicit that it's like it's not something that you take like full concern of, and it's like it whatever happens of it? Do you think that eventually helped you to gain the success of it?
I don't know. You know, I see bands who are so like dedicated, it's their life, you know, and then they some of them make it happen, some of them don't. And then I see other people who don't care, who could take it or leave it, and sometimes it happens. I don't know. I don't think there's any like science to it. I think you're just lucky, no matter which way you slice it. I mean, there's so many great bands that should be huge that never are, and then there's so many bands that you're like, really?
Why them?
Not like I'm not in the habit of like trying to be negative, because it's like, what's the point, you know? Like, you know, I hear people talk shit on stuff, and it's like, you know, like, who cares? You know, like, who cares if you don't like that band? Some people do, you know? Anyway, I digress. I'm getting off topic. I don't know. I really don't know. It's so funny. JJUUJJUU's such a, no offense to JJUUJJUU, but it's such an afterthought for me. Like, and it just has to be because, you know, I got 2 kids and I'm married and I have Desert Daze and, you know, and Space Agency, and there's team members and people who work on it and work really hard, and it's such hard work. When it comes time to do JJUUJJUU, it's like, oh shit, you know, like in 2021, the only show we played was Desert Daze, and so, you know, we had to start the machine back up. We had to get a rehearsal space, we had to practice, we had to have a schedule. Hadn't played together in 2 years. We were playing a set of completely new songs that we've never played together, like, because we made it remotely during the pandemic, you know. So, you know, I started by making some music on my computer. I sent it around to the guys in the band. The drummer played drums on it. The other guy, who's pretty much a multi-instrumentalist, but mainly guitar, did his, you know, stuff all over it. And yeah, when it came time to get ready for Desert Day, I was like, oh, okay, we got to learn these songs now, you know? So yeah, it's, I hate to put it this way, but it's kind of neglected, you know?
I like how it's had a lot of success, and so you're like, you know, it's there. I'm not gonna put too much forethought into it, but but it's just so funny that it's made so much progression within this thing. You're like, oh, we're doing that. That is a thing. But I got other stuff going on as well.
And maybe that's part of the whole thing. Maybe it's like, if you love something, let it go, or don't pay any attention to it. You know, I don't know how that saying goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Both are good, but do both of those. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if you love something, just, you know, neglect it, right?
Yeah, it's fine. Mm-hmm. Just it'll do what it's gonna do. It's fine. It'll work out.
Yeah, it'll work itself out.
Sorry,
it'll raise itself.
Yeah, it's fine. You're good, right? You're good. Okay, good. I'm out of here.
Yeah, you good. Okay,
good. Just checking in. Where did the name come from, JJUUJJUU?
You know, strangely enough, it's what our niece calls my wife. Or, well, not anymore because she's in her teens, but when she was little, she doesn't call her JJUUJJUU anymore. But when she was a baby, she was like, JJUUJJUU. And I was trying to, you know, I was like, oh, well, we have these songs that we made and we recorded. I guess we have to call it something. And we actually, there was a joke at the beginning, was like, oh, we'll just change the name of the band every time we release something. And then we're like, that's probably not a good idea. And so Andrew and I were kicking around stuff, and I was like, my niece said juju the other day, and I thought that's kind of cool. And my dad used to say that when I was younger. He'd be like, that's some good juju, talking about some good mojo or good vibes, good spirit, right. Good energy. And so I was like, yeah, I like that. And there's a couple other jujus throughout history. So the label actually pointed that out. They're like, guys, we can't register this anywhere, because how about Juju USA? We're like, no, we don't really like that. And then I got to give credit to Andrew, because we're like, what should we call it? Should we call it this? Should we call it that? And he's like, yo, I got it. We'll just add a letter to every letter. We'll just double every letter. It's still Juju. I'm like, fuck, you're a genius, and we like cracked the code. We can still be Juju. There's been a lot of different people involved in the project over time, and that's just the way I want it to be. Like the first record, I think somewhere in the liner notes it says something like, this record was made in many different places with many different friends. Many thanks to all who have or will collaborate with this record, and that's the spirit of it. It's like collaboration doesn't end in the recording process. It's like you at home listening to it, you're also collaborating, you're also in Juju. Yeah. That's like the vibe.
It's very open-ended, and that's good. That's really good. You don't want to corner yourself off there.
Yeah.
Is the idea of like fresh blood being pumped into it also a facet of how it's been able to become what it is?
Yeah, I think so. I love the idea of it being this constantly evolving collective of different people. I want to do like records with other bands where it's like Juju and Boogerines, or Juju and Mets, or Juju and, you know what I mean? Like I want to like send music to those guys and have them fuck it up and do their crazy magic to it, and then release something, almost like hip hop features, like I want to collaborate with as many people as possible. Like I've never made music by myself. It's always been a collaborative effort in a room with other people, up until this Juju project, which started as like a loop based project where I would make loops by myself, and then Andrew would play drums. And then it sort of evolved. It's less reliant on loops these days, but during the pandemic, it's like, well, I don't have Desert Daze to work on, and I have some free time. And so I invested in some like modest recording gear and taught myself how to do it. I probably did it terribly, the first time around, not getting very good signal path and whatnot. And yeah, so I like the idea of working on something by myself and then sending it off to someone else, and then hearing what it's like when it comes back. That's really exciting for me,
right?
Rather than like, I made this all by myself, like, which is great. Some of my favorite records are made by a Singular vision, someone with a singular vision. There's something to be said for that, for sure.
Sure.
Sometimes the democracy of a band can sort of like fuck it up, like, let's try to make everybody happy, and in the pursuit of that you kind of have this like watered down thing. Whereas if it's just someone's like, I just made this, I stayed up all night and I made this, and it's like, this is brilliant. Anyway, I guess I like splitting the difference between the two. Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you, let's get into the nitty gritty of it. Desert Daze, when did you realize I need to make my own thing? I need to start doing this, put on a festival like this?
I've been touring most of my adult life. I've gone to a lot of festivals, played a lot of festivals. And then Deep Valley, in the beginning of Julie and my relationship, was doing every festival. And yeah, we just felt like, yeah, we should do one that's like for our kind of music, and I was living in Pomona, and it was easy enough to put together an outdoor show down there. which was much to my surprise. I was like, really? It only cost like $40 to close the street and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And
a little bit steep there, but you know, you make sacrifices. Yeah.
So yeah. And anyway, that was sort of the beginnings of it. And it was just friends calling friends. My friend's band will play. My friend's band will play. You know, and that's how it started. You know.
Was it called Desert Daze in the initial idea of it?
Well, the first thing that we did, like officially in this era, was called Moon Block Party.
Mm-hmm.
And it was literally a block party in Pomona, and that led to doing Desert Daze. A venue out in the desert called us and was like, hey, why don't you do a show out here?
Is that Pappy and Harriet's? Is that what
no, it was this place called Dylan's Roadhouse in Desert Hot Springs. So we did a show there, and then that went pretty good. And then they invited us to do some what started as Coachella parties, you know, during Coachella, throw some shows. And we somehow turned that into an 11-day long festival, you know, thing where we had like 122 bands play.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was 2012. And that was the first Desert Daze. That was called Desert Daze. And we had like, our headliners were like Akron Family, Dead Meadow, Here We Go Magic, All Allah's, Bleached. Each night was sort of a different vibe. And like a different like presenting partner, you know. Did one with like LA Record, and one with like Sailor Jerry, and you know, it's like each night was like a different combination of people.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun.
I mean, that sounds like it sounds like it really just came out with running with I mean, it sounds like pretty successful. I mean, having those backers. I mean, Sailor Jerry, proud sponsor of this podcast, by the way. Sailor Jerry, love it. Phil and I were just talking about you, and we're saying like, why isn't it a sponsor yet? Because we just had a drink, I don't know, a couple hours ago together. We were together.
I drink a big glass of Sailor Jerry every morning.
Yeah. What do you think's in here? Okay. Yeah. So it's the fuel of this. Yeah. Also Domino's pizza. Mm-hmm.
Cut to commercial break.
Yeah, no, that's where we're gonna put the ad. Yeah, you got to give a little leeway, you know, to get into it. Anyways, all done in post. Thank
you for that word from our sponsors, Domino's Pizza.
Just with pizzas.
The new Sailor Jerry Domino's Pizza collab.
That's what's in the sauce. It's the secret sauce.
Right.
It's just drenched in Sailor Jerry.
That's really bad.
Yeah, no, that's
disgusting. Really bad.
But we love it. So you're going to as well. But anyways,
we're contractually obligated to enjoy every bite.
That is my official stance. Read the email that we both got concerning that's my official stance. Anyways, I mean, it really sounds like it was very there had legs to it in its early initial process of even creating.
It was more like we were getting dragged than it having legs. No, I mean, look, I mean, we bit off more than we could chew, and we just chewed and chewed and chewed. Yeah, you know what I mean? We were very like tenacious, relentless, problem-solving type people. And there were lots of problems to solve in those early days, you know, that's for sure. But yeah.
But you're able to get it done. You're able to steer that ship, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, you saw Julie walk in earlier. I got to give all praise to that woman. If it wasn't for Julie, we wouldn't have made it through those early years. There's been a couple times throughout the course of our history where Julie has single-handedly like basically saved our ass. Like in 2012, we not only took over the venue for 11 days, but we somehow like found this spa motel in Desert Hot Springs, which there are a lot of. And this one was really run down and really like probably a front for some nefarious activity.
Sure.
And they let us take it over because no one stayed there. It was vacant like all the time. And so we had 40 rooms, and we somehow worked it out with them where we would book the motel for the whole 11 days, all 40 rooms a night. And Julie took on that task, and everything we agreed to with this hotel, like, yeah, you could have music by the pool. Yeah, you can have after parties after the event each night. Yeah, you can have sponsorship activations. We get there and they're like, what is this coconut water company set up by the pool? We're like, didn't you say we could do that? And then, well, you can't have music after 11 p.m. You can't use the hot tubs. Like, wait, these are all the things we asked you that we could do. And like, and needless to say, it was chaos. And everyone that we had promised things to were like, hey man, like you told us we could do XYZ. We're like, I don't know. And like Julie basically had to deal with the fallout of all that. I mean, with me, but like, it was like, and then in 2018, when we had traffic and rain and the evacuation, a lot of people wrote into the email to share their experience and ask for some type of compensation. And Julie, she responded to every single one of those people. She took it upon herself. She's like, I got this, and made a spreadsheet. She like categorized like, okay, this person was just stuck in traffic. This person was stuck in traffic and then had a terrible experience in the evacuation. This person, blah, blah, blah. And it ranged from like free tickets to merch to some other thing. And she, successfully navigated that whole thing where everybody that wrote in felt like, hey, you guys are all right. You guys care and you guys heard me and you guys took care of me. I got your back, and they didn't come in like that. They came in like, F you guys, and like
coming in hot. Mm-hmm.
They're probably expecting us to not give a damn, and we very much do give a damn. And so I can't thank Julie enough. She's been there to save my butt. Took us more than a handful of times.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she's a great woman and a great mom and a great drummer. I can't
all around
can't
great.
say enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Are you surprised with the amount of success that it has garnered over these past few years?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it started from a very modest, no expectations. We're just doing this for us and our friends, and it's always been a community thing. It's always been like, there's a family putting it on with their best friends, and families and their best friends come to it, and and so on and so forth. And as big as it's gotten, it still has that at its core, which is it makes it a really special thing to be a part of.
Yeah, that really sounds like, I mean, because obviously you put a lot of time into it every year, and I mean it really seems like a special thing when you kind of peek behind that curtain there and see what's really going on. Back to it. We took a little intermission there, but we're back. We're on it. We're in it again. But anyways, regarding Desert Daze, that's where we left off here. Desert Daze.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean it seems like a very, very rad thing that you guys are doing, just to put it lightly.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't even know where to start and end with it. It's we feel incredibly lucky that we get to do it and that it means something to people, and it's even more special because it seems like it's more than just a party to the people that really care about it. It's like something that that they really cherish, and so that means we don't take that lightly, and it guides every decision that we make. When we're producing and deciding what to do and what not to do, we think about the community. It's like it's its own living organism that we have to take care of. It's not just a business venture. It's like I don't know, it's hard to put into word.
How do you feel when you're up there with JJUUJJUU playing at Desert Daze? How do you feel when you're when that's happening at that moment, when you're looking out and you're at the thing that you created and you're playing the things that you create? How does that make you feel?
It's a beautiful feeling. Being at Desert Daze in general is so it's such a deep experience for me, because the 12 months leading up to it are so hard. Like, it's such a it's such a big project with so many moving parts and things constantly going wrong and curveballs being thrown at you, and it's constant damage control, that like it really it's exhausting, you know, and it takes a lot out of you. And then it's funny because, like, I was talking to a friend about this the other day who, like, you know, his life's more like regular, and this is so irregular in the sense that, like, you work for so long and then it happens so quickly and then it's gone, you know. So it's like you work for 12 months on something that happens for 3 days, and so it's kind of weird. Like, when you really think about it, like,
Yeah.
you're getting like punched in the face for 12 months, right? And then, like, you get to, like, if, like, whatever, like, you're healed for 3 days, and it's like that experience is enough to make you like, yeah, okay, I'll do it again. You know what I mean? Like, and so, yeah, playing is just kind of an extension of that, like, where it's all wrapped up in all the physical and emotional chemistry that's happening. And yeah, I mean, just like being up there is so rewarding, I guess is the word, and fulfilling and healing, because the process of doing it is so, like, it beats you up, you know.
I bet. I just can't even comprehend like the amount of stuff. I mean, there's you obviously think about, like, yeah, booking people, making sure that they come out here, but it's also like there's so many nuanced things that have to happen in order for this to happen, that I mean, I couldn't even comprehend, like, oh, I didn't even think about whatever. I mean, in terms of like where they're going to lodging or whatever. I mean, I know you guys had that sweet deal with the motel, that they were super courteous with you. I know that
Yeah, they
that
were
happened.
great. They were great.
Super
Yeah.
rad. But I mean, beyond that, it must be a really rewarding thing that, as you said, at the end of the day, I mean, at the end of the third day, I guess, is like, wow, like, this is really happened and it's done and on to the next.
Yeah, and you know what makes it extra special, and is a huge part of why it's healing and regenerative, is um the people who come to Desert Days know um know about the people that put it on, and there's this understanding that, like, there's real people putting it on. Well, there's always real people putting something on. It's not like
There's a
fake
face to it,
people.
though. There's like a face in there, like, you
Well,
know,
it's like
you,
a
yeah.
yeah. We're not like a faceless corporation who's all about, you know, turning a dollar. It's there's really like a mission at hand, and so anyway, long story short, getting to meet the people at the festival and hear from them what it means to them and have a conversation with them is all part of why that weekend makes the 12 months leading up to it worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine the feeling that you have when it's like, this is happening again. And yeah,
Seeing people
just
have a good time, it's like, this is why I do this, you know. Like, you know, we're not saving lives, we're not heart surgeons, we're not fire people putting out fires, but we contribute something to these people's lives, you know. And I'm so grateful that, like, the work we do contributes to people in that way. Like, it gives us such a sense of purpose, you know, without taking ourselves too seriously. We really are grateful about that, you know. Like, we really don't take that lightly. We think about that all the time.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Has there, and I know this is must be a really hard question, has there been some really standout performances that you've seen from Desert
Iggy Pop.
Days? Iggy Pop.
He's the champion.
Yeah.
He's the reigning champion right now. No offense to everyone else who's played, but, like, holy moly, dude. I cried during that set, and I was there with you know, one of the backers of the festival, Morgan from Knitting Factory. Like, we almost shed a tear, and it's unlike anything I've ever witnessed. Like, he came out like on fire, and the crowd's energy was just crazy. The whole crowd was bouncing. Like, you ever seen those videos of Rage Against the Machine in Mexico City where the whole crowd's just like,
it's a wave.
It was like that, you know, and I was like, this is Desert Daze, you know, and there was like a fence coming off the stage, and like the fence is like rocking back and forth. I'm like, oh, hope nobody gets hurt, you know. Nobody did get hurt, so it was the best of both worlds. Yeah, I don't know. He like stage dove, you know.
Yeah, what are the past tenses?
Jumped into the audience, and he spit on a photographer, which, like, I don't know. It's so funny, like, you know. Some other musician recently kicked a photographer, and it was like, that's not cool. But for some reason, when Iggy Pop spit on the photographer was like, that's the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. You know, it's just, you know.
Yeah.
So
that's wild, man. That's really cool. And I like how you said Iggy Pop, because I do have the right poster up, then it that kind of solidifies it.
Yes.
Yeah,
you do.
Yeah. I'm happy about that.
You know, Tame Impala getting cut after 3 songs in the middle of an electrical lightning storm was a different kind of memorable experience.
Sure,
you know?
Sure. On the tail end of that, I mean, dude, this one right here, the Iggy Pop one, Spiritualized, Courtney Barnett and Kurt Vile, Sleep. I mean, John Cale, like the list is just goes on and on and on, and it's just,
I love
incredible.
In that year, we were able to get Iggy Pop, John Cale, and Terry Riley on the same day. And the year prior, we had television. And so my, like, you know, dreams of CBGBs were realized in those days. And, you know, like, Terry Riley worked with John Cale, and John Cale produced an Iggy Pop record. Like, we're always trying to, like, find these threads, you know, to sew together. And when people pick up on that, it's like, yeah, you get it.
Yeah,
you know?
that's so rad. I mean, King Gizzard and Lizard, I like how you're bringing stuff in from a time that is past and a time that is new. I mean, where else are you gonna find King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard with John Cale? I mean, that's, you know, and you do that, and that's no, I'm maybe at a bar, at a really cool bar, but besides that,
yeah,
at Chain Reaction, that's what they're gonna be.
There you go. There you go.
That'd be an interesting show. Yeah, I mean, that must be super crazy. And I got to ask you this, if you could narrow it down, what is one band or artist that is around now that you would like to have at Desert Daze, and one dead artist or band that is not around anymore that you would like to have at Desert Daze?
I'll go with the dead one, because if I answer the other one, I'm going to be giving away some secrets.
Oh,
and you know,
you can find those secrets at dominospizza.com/the Vineyard Podcast and Desert Daze. That's where you can find that thing. But it actually comes with the Sailor Jerry pizza if you're really interested. If you want to get,
that's right. That's the only way to find out the secrets.
If you want to jump the gun on that.
The Sailor Jerry pizza.
It's the bottom of the crust, anyways. Please.
God. Ugh. So I would love to have. I would love to see John Lennon play with some, like, cool all-star band, you know, of some sort. You know, Sean Lennon's played the festival, so, like,
rad.
You know, if his dad was still here with us, to see them play together would be pretty special.
Definitely.
You know, I would love to have, you know, proper Pink Floyd, you know. Can't do that anymore, because one of them's sadly gone.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin, you know, with John Bonham on the drums would be ridiculous.
Sure.
Can, there you go, Can, you know, because Jackie Leibowitz is gone. Liebezeit. I'm going to pronounce it incorrectly. I apologize. Yeah, Can in all their glory would have been
so dope. Yeah.
I could take a nap after that one.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
No more.
Yep.
Those are good answers. I do like it. I mean, outside of Desert Daze, is there a performance that sticks out to you?
Oh, well, for some reason, and maybe it's because we talked about Glass House earlier, but I saw the Vandals at the Glass House once, and
Yeah.
Glass House is like the capacity these days, I think, is like around 800. This was before the Great White venue fire that set new capacity,
Laws,
across the country. There was probably like 2,000 people in that room. It was the 90s, and the Vandals were playing, and the whole place was jumping. You didn't have to like make any effort to jump. You were jumping.
Yeah,
like,
you were in the
like
air.
the rest of the crowd lifted your body off the ground, and like I'll never forget that. I felt unsafe. I was like, this is unsafe, And I was like 12 or 13, and I had the
mindset,
the wherewithal to know like this is not good.
Yeah, you're the fire marshal coming in with that.
Yeah. That was pretty memorable. Trying to think of what else. Seeing Tame Impala at Coachella that one year, like when they were just starting to explode. I think it was maybe 2013. Just they played the outdoor theater, and just seeing as far back as that crowd went, and just be like, wow. Because Tame Impala was this combination of all these different influences that, like, for a psych rock community, you're like, wow, this is our band, and then they got really massive. And so it was just so like, wow, someone from our scene is like breaking through. So that was pretty remarkable. It made me realize that maybe things like that make you realize that anything's possible.
Yeah, and I mean, you of all people should know that firsthand. Like this, I mean, this is possible. Desert Daze. I keep on gesturing to this because it's right here, and that's why I was able to know all those names right at the top of my head, just because I'm a big fan, and also there's a template in front of my face here.
Yeah,
that helps. Also helps.
Dude, people ask me who's playing the festival, and I have to look. I'm like, let me pull up my spreadsheet. Hold on, I forgot.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
That's incredible. No, I see it all every day. Every day I sit down here.
That's amazing.
And I'm more interested in Moonblock than Desert Daze, but
well, you're ahead. You're
I'm jumping the gun. I'm what everybody else is going to be on, per usual. Like in a couple of years, there was Moonblock.
That's right.
Like, I've been on it. I've been
ahead of
on
his time. Ahead of his time.
Yeah, that's
why Domino's pays the big bucks.
Yeah. Domino's and Sailor Jerry. I'm not gonna also them. Thank you.
Contractually obligated to say it 14 times an hour.
Yeah, I mean that at last ad break, it had a couple of twists in it, just like the garlic twists that you can get at Domino's. Anyways,
that's right. The Sailor Jerry infused garlic twists.
Oh, it's nasty, but I do love it. Has there been anyone at Desert Daze that you've seen, you're like, oh, fucking no way, such and such is here, or so and so is in the crowd?
Thurston Moore. So that same year, right?
Thurston Moore group.
It was during the day. They just played, and the stage manager found me. Like, we found each other. We like walked. She was like, oh, I gotta introduce you to Thurston Moore, and I was like, yeah, you do. Let's go. And he had this big like perma smile on his face. And I was like, hey, Thurston, thank you so much for playing. And I could like barely get done with my sentence. And he was like, I'm having the best time. And I was like, I just got chills again. Like, when he told me that, I got chills all throughout my whole body. And I was like, all right, we're doing something right. Like, Thurston Moore is here in the middle of the day in Joshua Tree heat, and he's having a great time. Like, this is great. And then the similar thing happened at John Cale's set. His wife and manager, who's a lovely, lovely person, she grabbed me and was like, this is the best. And I was just like, and I just got chills again. I was like, I can die. I could go take a nap now, like, that's what I'm striving for. If I can take a nap, then we're doing good. And I'm not a good napper. I've never been a good napper. So maybe that's something to do with my eternal striving for nap.
Circadian rhythm.
Dude, I don't know. I'm tired. I'm an exhausted guy.
Right. How are you with sleep in general?
I sleep good.
Oh, are you doing full 8 hours?
Yeah, definitely. we have a really comfortable couch at our house that like if you lay on it, you just fall asleep. You're just like you just immediately, and it's like the best, delicious, the chocolate of sleep. That's what that couch is.
Awesome. It's yeah. You need to have those space. How is the bed though? I feel like you're not raving about the bed.
So here's the deal with the bed. We went out and we bought like a super nice, a bed that we had to go on a payment plan to pay off.
It's a good bed.
Very nice bed.
Yeah,
it was great in the shop. We were like, this is the bed.
Oh, of course. It's always good in the shop. It's always, whether it be records, pants, whatever it is, it's always better there. Absolutely.
Yeah. And we got it home and we're like, yeah, maybe you got to break it in, maybe. And then like 2 years later, we're like, this bed sucks, like we wake up in pain, like, cause it's so, it's like a Tempur-Pedic or whatever they are,
Sure.
Your body sets in and it like, you're just, it's very, there's no give to it. You're just like, you're just, and so anyway, it's no good.
You know what mattress you should be using is Sattva, and Sattva is a luxury mattress maker, and they also sponsor this podcast. Get 15% off of the delivery fee. May make that perfectly clear.
And you're gonna get 2 free Domino's Sailor Joy pizzas that you have to eat in order to be able to, pass out and actually sleep on the bed. Yeah, you gotta get good and drunk.
You do need to be a little bit out there to be able to sleep on it, but
that's right.
It is not worth it, but it's there. The bed's there.
The bed is there. You're there. You wish you were somewhere else, but
what goes through your mind the day before the first day of Desert Daze?
Do you mean the day before we move to site, start building, or do you mean the day before the festival?
Both. Let's unpack both.
Okay, so the day before I leave for site, I'm in denial about having to do my laundry and collect all my cables and chargers, and then I leave it till like 11 p.m. at night, and I'm like, oh fuck, where's that thing? Where's my charger for the doodad? And so I'm just in denial. And then when we're on site, the day before, I'm usually up pretty late, doing emails or meetings or driving around the site on my golf cart, talking to the different installation artists or production teams about what loose ends we have to tie up before doors open the following day, because we're never done the night before. There's never like 8 p.m. the night before, like, hey, you want to go see a movie? We're done with all the work, like that doesn't.
And there's no way that you could if it did happen like that you did have it's done at, let's say 7:30 p.m. right? You're wrapping up, done, right? Everything's done. There's no way you could shut your brain off enough to be like, let's watch a movie. There's just no way. There's no.
One of the years, it was 2019, where we finally got it right in terms of the operation. Had a great team, had enough department heads. Not so much of this like in the past where it's like one person doing 7 things and they're running around like a chicken with their head cut off, not doing any of the 7 things, right? Because like who could, God love them, we're just putting too much on their plate. So 2019, it finally felt like I was like, what are we missing? I was waiting for the other shoe to drop because it was like so calm. Everyone was like, yeah, my department's great. And all my boxes are ticked. And you're like, well, what are we forgetting? So that's like
the cable, but besides the cable that you forgot at your house.
That's right. You can never be too comfortable or too like, yeah, we're good. We're good. Like maybe year 10 at the same venue when it sells out every year. You might think that, but
maybe though, maybe. I mean,
probably not. I have friends who work on Coachella, right? Prime example of something that's like pretty set, right? I mean, even them, they're like, oh God, it's so much work and it's never ending and it's curveballs and constant damage control. Even that at that level. So I'm like, oh, great. It's good to know. Good to know it never gets easy, like,
The
So
fires on both sides of
yeah,
that valley. Yeah, it's at just as hot over there as it is where you are. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. Anyway, it's but you know, it's not nearly as stressful as it used to be. I will say that. It's like we have good people who are very good at what they do. We're very lucky to have such a great team. We were nominated for Festival of the Year in 2021 by Polestar, which is, you know, it's a high accolade in the festival world, and I owe it all to our various you know, operations, production, artist relations, traffic teams, box office. I mean, dude, there's so many moving parts, like, and they all have to be working for the audience to have like a good experience, you know? It really is a miracle, like when it goes right, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. God bless you, man. You really are taking on a large thing, but I mean, it's great. It's fantastic that that's happening. It's just I'm getting secondhand anxiety over here. You know.
Yeah, sorry
Yeah.
about that. Yeah,
No,
I
it's
have
good.
that effect on people.
Yeah, yeah. Bring it on to me. Yeah, you got to yell at somebody, and then that person yells at somebody, and then you know it trickles down. You got to get out of your system.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's insane, man. That's gonna be like the talking point of this episode. That's insane, man. That's gonna be that's it.
Yep.
When do you feel the most creative? Is it working with Desert Daze? Is it working on music, or is it a combination of both, perhaps?
Well, my first answer was going to be like 2 a.m. is when I feel most creative.
That's fantastic. I
Yeah.
love that. There's right when you're
You
supposed to be
know,
sleeping on your nice mattress, but you know.
it's funny. I work all day. I get up early in the morning. I work all day. I get tired around dinner time, and I'm like, I have so much more work to do. And then like some point at like 11 p.m., 12 a.m., I get a second wind, and I'm like, all right, here we go. You know. um, but you know, I really loved revisiting during the pandemic, being able to revisit that creative side of myself in terms of making music. It was a great reminder of like, oh, this is who I am. This is who I've been since I was 15, 13, really. Like I'm a musician, you know, like, oh, I forgot, you know, and it really rekindled something in me. And no offense to Desert Daze or the work that it takes, but like making music is where I'm happiest, obviously. I mean, it's just like the process of tinkering around on the computer or on some of the instruments here and then getting something recorded, and then, you know, for a while you're like, okay, you know, it's some stuff, you know, that's a cool part, that's a cool part. I need to like, you know, you go through the process and eventually it becomes something cool, you know, and you're like, oh, this is awesome, you know. That moment is like my favorite thing, you know, where you're like listening to the thing and you're like, oh, this is cool, this is like, this is the music I want to hear, you know, this is my favorite band, you know. And you know, there's nothing like an awesome show where everything's going right, your monitor mix is good, and there's people in the audience feeling it. Like we played Pickathon. Juju got to play Pickathon, and it just blew my mind. Like that was some of the best shows we've ever played. Like it's a festival where you have to play it twice, and the first night we played at what they call the trees stage, and it's this like natural amphitheater where it kind of goes up, and everyone was like just going nuts, man, like dancing and kind of moshing. Like we've never had that kind of energy at one of our shows. It was brilliant, and so that's my favorite thing, I think.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I really think it's really cool that you were able to pinpoint when you get creative. I think that's the most specific answer I've gotten out of all the times I've asked that question.
2 a.m.
Yeah. I love it. I wanted to hear it again. Really, I was keying you up to just say it again. Just like, you talking about chills? No. This guy getting it over here.
That's right.
Yeah. If Desert Daze wasn't at where it is, the location wise, where would it be? Where would you like it to be? Dream location, if you can move it to anywhere, where would it be?
Well,
Besides Pomona and paying that block party fee, of course. Minus that.
Besides that, I'd love to get it back to the desert, man. Desert Daze should be in the desert.
Is it not in the desert now? Was the last one not in the desert?
Well, it's kind of in the desert. Yeah, it's at this place called Lake Paris, which is it's about an hour and a half outside of LA, and it's when you start getting into the desert, and it's this beautiful state park. It's got this enormous lake, and it's got everything that California has to offer. It has desert, it has chaparral, it has meadows, it has beautiful shady trees. It's got this beautiful lake you can swim in. It's got mountains as far as the eye can see. It's really a gorgeous location and very like operationally friendly, you know, like it's functional. And you know, it's there's room for us to grow there. So it's kind of perfect. I can't really see us moving from there anytime soon. It makes a lot of sense to do the event there. If we could put Lake Paris in the high desert, it would be best of both worlds, you know.
With the street of Pomona in there.
That's right. Yeah. With a replica of the arts colony of Pomona, and then I could take a nap.
That's where the nap comes in. On that nice Satva mattress.
That's right.
Now, you just reminded me, because I remember seeing one of the posters, not the one that I have in front of me, but another one it said Lake Paris. Did Death Grips play? Am I messing that up? Death Grips did play. No, it did not play.
2018.
They did play.
Yeah, they showed up.
They were there. Did you?
Yeah. Unlike some other plays, I was warned on the front end. They were like, they cancel.
Yeah.
They don't cancel and then don't show up. You know, like they're a wild card. And I was like, oh boy, you know. And they showed up. They played. I actually got to talk to them after the set.
By them, do you mean Stefan or the singer, the drummer, or because they're notoriously?
It was all three of them backstage, and the one that responded to me was the singer, MC Ride.
Yeah.
I just said I always keep it brief. Like I'm not the guy that's like, hey, the festival director would like to meet you. You know, like I'm not that guy. Like Iggy Pop played, and my friend texted me like, hey, do you want to come meet him? I was like, no. like nah. like he's doing whatever he's doing. I'm not gonna bother him. You know, like, and I didn't get to meet him, and I regret it. I should have. But like in the moment, like I was just like, no, I'm not going to. Good. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bug him. Sorry, where were we?
Death Grips.
Death Grips, that's right. So I kept it really brief. I was like, guys, you can play here anytime. And then they knew, because they played the Sunday. The evacuation was on Friday. We were lucky enough to be able to have a festival on Saturday and Sunday. They knew, and I was like, I'm just really grateful I got to see you guys play. And they knew the weight of what I was saying, and they're like, yeah, man, no, that was great. Thank you for having us. And then that was pretty much it. And I was like, good. All right, good night, folks. You know, like I like to end on a high note. You know, it's like I don't linger around and like, yeah. So where are you going next? You know, like, you know, nope, I'm out.
No. That's it. Keep it as brief as possible. Just open up the door, and then just wave, and then like, all right, there it is. Yeah, just keep on just lessening it. Yeah.
Another time that I got to meet someone that played Desert Daze was Bradford Cox when he did Atlas Sound. Someone told me that he wanted to meet, and I was like, oh, okay. And I've been a big Deer Hunter fan for a long time, and he's so interesting, and like, so I was like a little intimidated, to be honest. I was like, oh boy, here we go, and didn't know if I'd be able to hang, you know, but we got along great. You know, we hit it off and had a really nice convo, and he said some lovely things about the event, and he seemed to get the spirit of the event, you know. So I feel like for a lot of these musicians, it's like, it's just another, you know, like going to festival to festival. It's like they've seen them all, you know. So to like hear it from them, that's special. Yeah, because they know, you know, they've seen every festival on the planet. So for them to recognize that, like, ineffable, intangible, like energy or spirit that lives in the festival because of where we're coming from and how the audience resonates with it and how they're all really like serious music fans. They're not Instagram influencers, or they're not like, it's not their rite of passage spring break thing. It's like they're like record collectors and like people who pride themselves as like, you know, music aficionados and heads, man. Heads.
Yeah. Man.
So it's special to hear from the bands that they see that and resonate with it as well. So it's cool.
Yeah, that seems really cool. Getting into like a really nitty-gritty question here. What time are you usually leaving the grounds on like night 1, night 2, and then the final night? Like what time are you getting out? You personally are getting out of there?
So we all live on site. When we do the fest, we're there for a few weeks to build it and then break it down. My routine is usually during the day, I've got my walkie-talkie on and I'm in the loop.
Keep that thing on you, of course.
Yeah, and I'm in the loop on what's going on. Not so much these days, but up until about 2019, it was like I was like the guy people would come to with questions like, hey, Phil, like, what should we do about this? And I'd have to answer and give direction. I don't have to do that as much now. Thankfully, there's like an operations director in place who's way more skilled and experienced at that sort of thing than I am. So I can kind of take a step back and let them quarterback. And I'm in the loop, I'm hearing what's going on. And her and I may have some sidebars about what's going on. And then at some point around like 8 p.m. when the sun's down and everything's sort of on autopilot, I'll turn my walkie-talkie off. And yeah, and they can still reach me by phone, you know, like I'll get text messages and stuff.
You're just ghosting everybody. That's no, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm done.
Yeah.
Come back with me around, I don't know, 10-ish tomorrow morning. Yeah, you can deal with that then? Great.
Yeah. Yeah, you here's the keys. You guys got it, right?
You guys, I mean, you know how I do it.
Yeah.
What would I do?
I'm gonna go to Del
Don't ask
Taco.
me. Don't ask me what I would do, because I'm not going to be here to be asked. But just think, what would I do? Again, do not ask me about that. Do not ask me what I would do. Think about it yourself.
Yeah. But you know, we're all none of us get very much sleep, you know, and like we're all like highly caffeinated, you know. That's like our brain chemistry is going. It's like espresso brain, you know. And so, you know, yeah, I'll like mosey into the production office probably close to the end of the show around 1 a.m. or something. Hey, how's everybody doing? You know, any fires to put out? Usually things are pretty much under control. And then I might go up to the campgrounds, because we do late night at the campgrounds, check in with that production manager. How's everything going? Oh yeah, everything's good. You know, so-and-so showed up on time. They're setting up now. And, you know, so-and-so's DJing. People are dancing. You know, okay, great. Then I'll drive around on my golf cart throughout the campgrounds. I'll wave to some people. I'll check in, you know, I'll like see people walking and I'll be like, hey, how you guys doing? Are you guys going back to your camp? Do you need a ride? Like, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's not till like Saturday or Sunday that I start to relax. Like Thursday, Friday, even Saturday during the day, I'm like, how's everybody doing? Like, is everybody having a good time? Are people happy? Are they upset? Like, are people hurt? Like, what's going on? You know, I try to get a sense of like, and once I kind of feel like, all right, people are in their campsites, they're settled, they are happy, they're having a good time, then I can start to mellow out. So to answer your question, what time I go home, you know, I probably go back to my trailer around 3 a.m. And then I'll like, you know, check my email, look at the production schedule for the next day, try to drink some water.
You're using your creative time, interestingly, within those 3 days.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, I'll get up in the morning.
What time is that? Like what time waking up?
It depends on what's going on. If by Sunday, I'm probably getting up at like 8 or 9 in the morning. But like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're all getting up pretty darn early. The day starts, for some departments, it probably starts around 6 a.m. Some of the days, you know. And earlier in the week and the first few days of show, I'll keep my walkie-talkie on all night, just in case there's like a medical situation. I want to be in the loop about it.
Are you ready for the tail end of this?
I'm ready. I was born ready.
You've been ready since we started. I know, Phil. You didn't want to come on, and I had to pay you to come on. You know, that's what they don't tell you about the Desert Daze, is that you have to pay them to even speak to them. It's not family oriented at all. It's not just for the love of the game.
If you don't have that Domino's Sailor Jerry money, not interested.
Nope, not going on.
Not interested.
Phil, you're the man, dude. Thank you so much for coming on.
I had a great time, man.
Yeah, I mean, you had to say that because we're recording it.
I know I'm contractually obligated to say that, but I would love, no, I mean this. I would love for you to come to Desert Daze, and I'd love to meet you and
dude, yeah,
and take you on a golf cart ride, my son. I would love it.
And I would be putting out fires. So it's
That's right.
I'm valuable. No,
what I'm really trying to say is that we need you. We need your help.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to get out my contract with Domino's to do that. You know, it's. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. All right. So JJUUJJUU is everywhere. It's streaming all over the place. Wherever you get your music, that's where it is. You can find it. The J Mascis remix of Italian Toothpaste is good. And let me ask you, sorry, last question here. Do you prefer the original or what are the remix that he did?
I prefer the remix of that song just because it has J Mascis ripping on it, which is such a weird thing to me because I've never met him. And
really?
Yeah, and I don't think he's even a fan. Like, yeah, like, I mean, maybe he is. I don't know. I'm not trying to like put words in his mouth, but I would just guess that he isn't. You know, that would make more sense to me. And yeah, the A&R guy at the label, God love him, had some great ideas. I mean, that was his idea, and he orchestrated it. Like, apparently he knows him and was like, yeah, he's down. I'm like, okay. Like, even then I was like, it's not gonna happen, you know. And then he's like, hey, we got the remix back. I'm like, yeah, I don't really believe you. And like, he sent it to me. I'm like, oh shit, you know.
Yeah, that's not him. Just keep on. I actually know the backstory to that. He was actually, because I'm good buddies with him. We were standing at Pickathon, and he was like, he actually started like the energy.
Oh,
and
he was like, I
fucking love this guy. So yeah, it actually goes way back to then. And he actually reached out to me. He's like, hey, should I was like, yeah, dude, absolutely. I mean, he's a great guy.
All that sounds right.
Yeah,
all that sounds correct. Yeah,
yeah. You can't like not say it didn't happen. You know, there's no proof of it did not happening.
Well, it's all public domain. You could look it up.
It's on Wikipedia.
Yeah,
Domino's Wikipedia. But
anyways, that's right.
JJUUJJUU,
state-owned Domino's Media.
Of course, yes, yeah. JJUUJJUU streaming everywhere. Anybody can go. I highly recommend going.
And we've got a new album coming. The Pandemic album that we made. We made 2 albums during 2020, and we're gonna start releasing songs this year. I think we said that last year, and it didn't happen. So
we mean it this year. We mean it this year. This is the year.
We mean it, but I don't know if that means it'll happen. You know, you can mean it all day long.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, be on the lookout for that for sure. And Desert Daze returning soon ish. I mean,
yeah, September 30th through October 2nd. We're announcing the lineup very soon. I don't know when this will be published, but in the next, few weeks here.
Yeah, three weeks. So if it's not out by now, contact Pitchfork and say post it. Yeah, just contact Pitchfork about it.
You're gonna have to report it. If you don't see it in 3 weeks, you have to report us.
Yeah, yes, and through the Wikipedia of Domino's, you know the avenues to go down. Dude, Phil, am I missing anything, by the way? Is there anything else to promote?
No, we covered every single thing.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we did a pretty dang good job here.
We did. I feel like I accomplished something today.
You certainly did. You made my day happy. And then if that's not what you meant to do here, I don't know what you did. Bill, thank you so
Exactly.
much. Yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
brother. I appreciate you. And I'm going to talk to you in a minute. I'm going to stop recording this. Thank you again for coming on, man.